All right, let's get ready for tomorrow's test. So Hannah, what'd you get for number one?
I got like the number after -10, -9, -5,
Did you say -10 on the bottom?
Yeah.
Good, that's correct. So -10, 9, -15 is the top row. -15, -10, 15 is the bottom row. Do I need to go over that one? All you're doing is adding the numbers that are in the same spots. They have to have the same dimensions, right? To add or subtract. Okay, number two. What's the dimensions of A, Garrett? What's the dimensions of A? No?
3, 10.
3, 2, right. What's B, Cole?
2, 3.
No. You're right.
Oh,
2, 3. Right? 3 rows, 2 columns for A, 2 rows, 3 columns for B. Right? So, is it possible?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it is possible.
Okay? It is possible. What you check is the number of columns of the first matrix must be equal to the number of rows of the second. So it's both 2 for those. Okay? So the answer matrix, A times B, is going to be the number of rows of the first one by the number of columns of the second one. So it's going to be a 3 by 3. So you're going to have 9 numbers in your answer. So that's all calculator, right? So Joe, what'd you get?
Ooh, 37, 48, 26.
Good.
And then 28, 18, 8.
Correct.
And then -28. I don't know if that's a 0 or a 9.
That's a 0.
And then 8.
Yes. Okay? If you missed it, you just put it in your calculator wrong. Okay? You do not have to do it by hand like I showed you. You can use your calculator. Okay? So, if you're not sure if you can do it or not, just put it in, and the calculator will tell you if you can or can't, right? So, number one, I wouldn't waste time putting those 2 in the calculator. If you want, you can, but you don't need to. I think it takes longer to put it in the calculator than to actually add them. And number 2, put in the calculator. All right? Number 3, 4B means to multiply every number in matrix B by 4 and then add to C. And they are the same dimensions, so I can do that. So, Nate Miles, what'd you get?
8, 29, 36, and -26.
Correct. Again, I wouldn't waste time doing that in the calculator, but if you want, you can. Any questions on number 3? Okay, number 4, you just have to tell me yes or no, and if it's yes, you got to give me the dimensions. All right? So, if somebody misses this one, I might have to smack them upside the head on Thursday. Okay? So, is it possible?
Yes.
Yes, it is possible. Those 2 numbers match. So what's the size of the answer going to be, Liz? What's the size of the answer going to be? 3 by 7, yes. Okay? Should we miss any of the first 4? No. Each one worth 5, so it should be 20 out of 20 on the first 4, right?
Yes.
Should we miss number 5?
No.
No. Okay? Do not, though, pay attention. Do not just square those 4 numbers. That would be wrong. Okay? Any square matrix you can raise to a power because you'll be multiplying by itself, and the number of columns of the first one will match the number of rows of the second one because they'll all be the same numbers. Okay? So you have to put that in your calculator. Okay? So if you don't put it in your calculator, just square it, you're giving away 5 easy points. Okay? So make sure you put it in the calculator. So when you do that, you'll get 15, and then negative 20, negative 12, and 31. That's what you should get. If you don't get that, or didn't get that, you just put it in the calculator wrong.
You can just throw the calculator?
Yes.
Oh,
So you just go to matrix, second matrix, edit A, and put them in. I have them in already. Okay? So then get out of it, go back, get out of it. There we go. Go back in, hit A, and then square. No.
No?
Squaring and times 2 are 2 different things. Right? All right, so make sure you put in A squared.
how
When you
is
do.
0 squared 15?
That's not what happens. Remember when I showed you how to do this by hand? Here's how you get the 15. It's 0 times, and you're multiplying. Remember, you're multiplying 0, 5, 3, negative 4 by 0, 5, 3, negative 4. Okay, remember you go across the top and then down. All right, so you're going to go 0 times 0 plus 5 times 3. Well, 5 times 3 is 15 plus 0 is 15. Okay, then you're going to go 0 times 5, 0, and 5 times negative 4, negative 20. When you add those. Then you're going to go, let's use a different color. Then you go 3 times 0, which is 0, and negative 4 times 3. Add those, negative 12. Then you're going to go 3 times 5, 15, and negative 4 times negative 4, 16. 15 plus 16, 31. Okay, so that's how you do it by hand. But you don't have to because you got your calculator. Use your calculator. Questions? Other questions on the first 5? So I'm expecting everybody to get the first 5 right. Okay? You should expect that out of yourself too. Again, just take your time when you put it in. Make sure after you put it in, just check before you go to the next thing. Okay, just catch those little, maybe you forgot a negative sign in front of the 4 or something like that. Okay? All right, number 6. That's a mixture problem. All right? So there's always an easy equation, and then there's one that you got to remember to multiply at the end. So a grocer mixed nuts worth $4.50 per kilogram with raisins worth $3.35 per kilogram to make 55 kilograms of a mixture worth $3.80 per pound. Okay, so the nuts are more expensive than the raisins, but when you mix them, you get a price that's in between those two. Does that make sense? All right, so it's a little bit more than the raisins, but a little bit less than the nuts. And we're trying to figure out how many kilograms of nuts were used and how many kilograms of raisins. Okay? So usually the easy equation is the amount of the stuff, right? This stuff has 55 kilograms, right? So the amount of nuts, how many kilograms of nuts plus how many kilograms of raisins equals the 55 kilograms of our mixture. It could be 20 and 35. It could be 30 and 25, It could be 50 and 5. We don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. Does that make sense on the easy equation? Okay. Now, when you're buying something per pound, and there's a price per pound, what do you do to figure out how much you owe? You guys probably maybe like to buy candy, right? If you're getting Bit-O-Honeys that are, $1 a pound, and you got 5 pounds worth, which is a lot, how much would that cost you? $5, right? You just multiply, right? That's all we're doing with the nuts and the raisins. The nuts cost $4.50 per kilogram. So if I had 10 kilograms of nuts, it cost me $45, right? You multiply. And the raisins cost $3.35 a kilogram. And we multiply by the amount of kilograms of raisins. Okay? Equals the total amount this mixture costs. So they give us a price for this mixture, $3.80, and they give us how much of it. So that's the part where sometimes we mess up on these mixture problems. We forget that we have to multiply those two numbers together. A lot of times we'll just put the 380 or the 55. We won't put 380 times 55. So make sure you do that on the mixture one. So you'd have to do that for 6. You have to do that for 8 on the cracker. Hannah.
Wait, so we're supposed to times 4.5 times 10 divided by
No, I was just making numbers up. I just said, if we had 10 kilograms of nuts, it costs us $45, right? We have to multiply 4.5 times 10. We're trying to figure out how many kilograms we actually use. Okay? So.
An interruption. At this time, juniors with last names beginning with G through J report to the Performing Arts Hall now for your health screening. If you need to take your book bag,
You're in.
plan on putting the book bag and personal supplies
I
outside
don't know about you,
the
Joe.
Performing Arts Hall. Remember to pick up your health screening
Right.
form that's located at
You get the M's yet.
front of the top entrance. And remember to keep proper social distance.
So.
Thank you. That's junior, last name beginning with G
Audrey,
through J.
what's the
Report
answer?
to the pod now. Thank you.
I got 32.75 and I guess 32.95, but it's wrong.
You know that's wrong, right? Yeah. Autumn,
21.50 for nuts and 33.50 for raisins.
I got 48.
that is correct.
Wait, so if we got 21.52 and 33.48.
48?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you went to hundreds, it was 52 and 48. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, and if you add those, 21 and a half and 33 and a half, you'll get 55, right? Oh. Yes.
Why do you have to multiply? Yeah.
Because, again, that's the total cost of that mixture, right? You're gonna have the total cost for how much money they get from that mixture would be $3.80 per kilogram for 55 kilograms. Thank you. Okay, so on the mixtures, you're always multiplying in that second equation. Whether it's like a number, when we get to number 8, it's percents. We multiply the percent times the total amount of milliliters, which I think was 250. Okay? All right, 7 and 9 are basically the same type. Nickels or stamps, they have a certain amount that they're worth. All right, so number 7 is not worded very well. I made sure I worded it better, the one like it, or similar to that. I made sure I worded it better, but it says that 14 nickels and quarters. It kind of sounds like 14 nickels and then so many quarters, okay? That's not what it's saying. It means the number of nickels and quarters altogether is 14. So it'll be worded better than that on the test, one that's similar to that. So the number of nickels plus the number of quarters is our 14 coins. Okay? That's our easy equation. The other equation, which isn't really hard either, is how much, the value. When you guys count, if you ever counted change, you usually stack, your nickels and your dimes and your quarters together, and And then you counted up how much, and then you added it all up, right? So a nickel's worth 5 cents. I like to use just cents, so I just use 5 instead of dollars, 0.05. 5 cents is 0.05 of a dollar, right? But if you use 0.05, that's okay. So the 5 cents for every nickel, if I had 10 nickels, that'd be 50 cents, I'd multiply. 25 cents for every quarter, so if I had 4 quarters, that's a dollar, right? Equals the amount of money we have, which it tells you was $1.70. Again, since I did it in cents, it's 170 cents. If, again, you use the decimal, 0.05 and 0.25, then it's 1.7. Use the dollars. Okay? So don't mix the two, one or the other. Okay? So Mary, what's the answer?
I got 9 nickels and 5 quarters.
That is correct. Now, are we remembering? When we put it in our calculator and use our matrices, that we're going the A matrix inverse the B matrix. So if you're setting it up right but not getting the right answer, you're probably just going A times B instead of A inverse times B. Okay? Don't forget the inverse button when you do that. So again, make sure you show your 2 equations. That's the main thing. If you get that, you're going to get most of the points. These are worth 7 points, each of those. So that there's 5 worth 7, 35. There's 5 worth 5, 25. It'll be 60 points. Okay? Questions on 6 or 7? Okay, number 8. Another mixture problem. Okay? Since these are both the same type of mixtures, one's just stronger than the other, I used X and Y. So the 40% one, I used X for my variable. And for the 80% one, I used Y. But it wouldn't matter if you switched those. You'd still get the same answer. Yeah?
Can I calculate something else? So it's a -70.
You got them in? Your A and B? Yeah. Oh, instead of a -1? Because that's what you had done last. See, when you hit second enter, it puts in what you did last on the calculator. So if you do it a couple times, it'll go like 2 times. If you do it twice, it'll do what you did 2 times ago. If you do it 3 times, it'll do what you did 3 times ago. Does that answer your question? Right, so if the last thing you did was A inverse B, then you hit second enter, it'll do it again. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's why I did it to you. All right, so again, X represents the number of milliliters of that solution that you're gonna mix with this many milliliters of the other one. So this one's the stronger one, that's the weaker one, but when you mix them, it becomes somewhere in the middle, which was 65%. So it kind of gets diluted, right? The 40% dilutes the 80% into about a 65%. Do you understand what's happening there? Okay, but that doesn't make that much difference. But that's just kind of lets you know what's going on. So again, there's 250 milliliters total when you're done, and you want it to be a 65% solution of potassium chloride. Okay? So the number of milliliters of this solution, which is X milliliters, plus the number of milliliters of this one, is the total number of milliliters, which was 250. So that's what I call your easy equation. And your other equation is you multiply the percent times the amount of milliliters. So it's, remember, percent, you change to a decimal, you go 2 to the left. So it's 0.4 times x plus 0.8 times y. 2 places is 0.4, 0.8. Again, on a mixture, you got to multiply those two together. So it's 0.65 times the 250. Just like on the nuts and raisins, it was 3.8 times 55. So again, another mixture problem. You got to remember to multiply what you got in the end. 65% of 250 milliliters. Hannah.
So we don't have to, multiply like 40%.
No. Again, 40% of so many milliliters mixed with or added to 8% of so many milliliters equals a 65% solution of 250 milliliters. Okay? So, Gabe, what's that equal, number 8?
I got 93.75.
Right. That's the 40%. And what's the rest?
156. Yeah, there you go.
Okay? So if you were to add those two numbers, you'll get 250. Okay, if you wanted to check. All right, so another mixture. So there's probably a mixture problem on there tomorrow. Okay? On one of our, the one thing we did planks and plunks, remember? That's not a mixture problem. That just tells you, so many planks plus so many plunks equals so much money, right? If you got 5 of these and 6 of these, it's going to be so much money. And then you might have 4 of planks and 8 plunks is another amount of money. Okay, so those are pretty easy, I think. But you might have one similar to that tomorrow too, like planks and plunks one, like we had for, I don't know if that was worksheet A or worksheet B. So if you wanted to practice more problems, just look at worksheet A and B.
At this time, we need
Just
all
redo 'em.
junior students with last names beginning with K through L. Please report to the pod now for your help.
Not you yet, Joe.
Also, if you need to bring your book bag, please place
Must
it
be lots of
or
you guys
put
Ks and Ls, huh?
outside of the pod. Remember to maintain proper social distancing, and please pick up a health screening form from the table in front of the pod entrance. Thank you. That's all.
All right, so we
juniors.
got 25 stamps,
Beginning with
15 cent and
L.
22.
Thank you.
So F for 15 plus T for 22. And again, that represents the number of 15-cent stamps, and the number of 22-cent stamps equals the total 25 stamps. You can use X and Y, that's okay. Doesn't matter what variables you use. All right, a 15-cent stamp is worth 15 cents, and a 22-cent stamp is worth 22 cents. Okay? So again, I went with cents instead of dollars. So my $4.31 is actually just 431. I didn't use the decimal points. If you put 0.15 and 0.22, then it's 4.31. Both ways are okay. So Curcio, what'd you get for number 9? Right, 17 15-cent stamps and 8, 17, right? And 8 22-cent stamps. That adds up to 25 stamps, and it'll give us $4.31 worth.
No.
Did you just, no, they haven't gone, wait till they call you.
I won't take calls till next year.
Oh, well, I got one more to do. When I'm done, then you go. How's that? All right, the last one. was an investment one. There'll probably be an investment one on there tomorrow. Okay? So we got a total of $10,000. And we have two investments, 5.25% and 8%. And we're gonna make it interest $621.50. Okay, so to figure out how much you make on an investment, you just multiply the percent by the amount of money. So that's all you do. Find interest. Okay, so I'm gonna just make the 5.25% X dollars and the 8% Y dollars. Okay? So X dollars plus Y dollars is how many dollars? 10,000. That's what you started with on your investment, right? So you're splitting it up. Maybe it's 5 and 5, maybe it's 8,000 and 2,000, maybe it's 4,000 and 6,000. You're splitting it up in two separate accounts. Okay? So the amount of money in one account plus the amount of money in the other was the 10,000 that we had to invest. Again, to figure out interest, you multiply the interest rate by the amount of money. Okay? Now remember, when you have percent, when you multiply, you move it 2 to the left. Okay, a lot of you were just moving it 1. So a lot of you had it set up right, but you put 0.525 instead of 0.0525. Times X. And 0.08 times Y. So a lot of you had 0.5 and 0.8. That's where it went wrong, because you got, some of you had question marks, but you had it very close to the right answer. Did I get away from you? You could have hurt Liz there for what I did.
My bad.
Yeah, but not that fun. Equals the interest. Now, here's where some people make mistakes on this test. They switch these two numbers. Okay? They'll put the 10,000 with the interest, and they'll put the 621 with the just regular amount. Okay? So don't switch those. Okay? The amount you start with is the X plus Y one. Okay? The interest, how much you earn, goes with the percent one. 0.0525 times X and 0.08. All right? So the biggest mistake I saw in your homework, you guys that submitted, was you just did 0.5 and 0.8 instead of 0.05 and 0.08. Okay? And when you're done, you get this. $6,490. Oops, not 409, but 490. And 91 cents. Go to the nearest cent, which is hundreds. And then $3,509.09. Some of you put 90 and 10 for your cents. You're off a penny on both. Kimmy?
Yeah, but that's just wrong.
You just fixed it.
Well, if you're, are you gonna, when you get charged interest, you think they're gonna round it to a smaller number or no? They're gonna get as much money out of it as you can. And with you making money, you wanna make as much money as you can, right? So, yeah, it does make a difference if you're talking about, how much you get or how much you have to give. Abigail, you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say something like 17 and 8, but.
Yeah, the last one was 17 and 8, wasn't it? Yeah.
30%, oh no. Oh, okay.
You okay? Anybody else have a question? Is this as hard as you thought it was at first?
Yeah.
Still? Oh, man.
I'm gonna have to take 4 hours.
Well, then maybe you should practice some more word problems tonight. Do the A's and B's again, and just look at the answers. They're on Canvas, the answers to them.
Do you have another one?
Yeah.
You're gonna be like.
I'll think about it, man. You were paying good attention today.